Hi everyone, and welcome to the Mental Training Room. This is your host, Haley Herdman. I'm a former Division I basketball player and current mental health therapist.
And I am Naomi Yim, also a former Division I basketball player and a current real estate investor with a passion for athlete mental health.
Throughout our time as collegiate athletes, Naomi and I struggled with our emotional well-being, and we know from this experience how neglected the mental aspect of sports can be, which is why we created this podcast, to foster a safe space for other athletes to open up about their own experiences.
Whether you are an athlete, coach, parent, or anyone with an athlete in their circle, we hope you can gain some insight from our episodes that can help you along your journey. And the most important thing we hope you can take from our podcast is that you are never alone in your struggles.
Now, let's get into it. Welcome to the Mental Training Room. Well, welcome to the Mental Training Room, JP. I'm so nervous and so excited that you're here.
Thank you, guys.
For a little bit of background, JP was Naomi and I's coach our freshman year. And we bonded to JP like she was like our mother. I feel like our mother of college. Then she, after 1 year together, she left LMU and went and did such amazing things. But I think that was literally my first form of heartbreak.
I know.
Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. But we're so excited for you to be here in the training room. And usually we start off asking what our guests, a form of positive news for our guests, something good that has happened to them recently. But I feel like we kind of already have the answer for you, which is why you're here today. So do you want to share that news with us all?
So first and foremost, you guys are awesome. When you guys reached out, I was like, no brainer, make time. I'm so proud of y'all. I've been following your families and watching you guys. We were only together for about 10 months, if you really look back at it. But it was the most, I love California and I never knew that. Mm-hmm. We went to the postseason in that year. It was such an amazing time in my life. I was trying to leave Maine, gain some confidence out west. And so just having you guys accept and embrace, we were basically freshmen together.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't know anything either about the West or LMU, anything. And so that's that. Most exciting for me right now is I just took the head coaching job at the university at the Incarnate Word in San Antonio.
Yay.
Thank you. I've been here for a month. Even more exciting is this week is a recruiting shutdown. So I don't have anything to do in terms of recruiting this week, which is great because it was lifing while recruiting was recruiting. And so now I'm able to separate those two things and hang out with you guys.
Amazing. Okay, so now that you are a head coach, which also I remember you telling me that you never wanted to be a head coach. So
I want to know what changed.
Yeah, what changed and how does it feel stepping into a role like this for the first time?
So I'm glad y'all said that because I feel like when I tell people that, they don't believe me because I really didn't want to be.
No.
Did not.
And I think people are cap, and I'm no, I never wanted to be the one in the seat. What changed, honestly, was I worked for people who gave me power. And so I think that you hear it more today, but representation matters.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to seeing women in positions of power, because we're still not really ready for that, women of color in places of power, it really doesn't matter, right? Everyone needs representation because you think you can do it. And so for me, when I left you guys, I went and worked at Kansas, and then I left there, worked for someone who looked completely different at SMU. I left there, worked for someone who looked completely different at Oklahoma State. And then when I was at Oklahoma State, my head coach got pregnant this past season. And so I was able to step into the space, and it was a really comfortable space for me. And so I know you guys experienced it, but with basketball, there was a time in your life when you first started where it came naturally to you. Some kind of way, when you start hooping, you knew not to double dribble because it didn't feel natural. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I was able to step into that space, it felt really natural. And there were things that it was just kind of how do you know to do that? And I was well, I don't know. I'm just following instinct. I'm following what felt natural. And so then after this season ended, we ended great. And I worked for a really cool lady at Oklahoma State. Her name is JC Hoyt. And JC was Jhasmin, this isn't about you. The game needs, these young women need to see the people that you're supposed to represent. They need to feel leadership from you. And if you just decide to stay comfortable, then you're doing, you're not here to serve yourself, but you're doing someone a disservice if you don't step into that space. And so she kind of motivated me to do it. I knew that I could, I just didn't want to. It was just a matter of like, why would I? I was in a position of comfort. And then this came up and it just made so much sense for me. Like regionally, I think it's a good place to start. It's very similar to LMU if you think about it. Like LMU attracted me because like I knew that I wanted to be near a major airport. I knew I wanted to be somewhere where the sun shined. And so it's the same thing. Like I'm 10 minutes from the airport and the sun is always shining in San Antonio. And so like those things made sense for me. But you're right. Like I said that I never wanted to do it just because the relationships with players change. Like I haven't changed, right? Like I'm the same person, but like players start looking at you different when there's some playing time on the line. And I never wanted that to change. But it also put me in a position to like put my people on. Like a player that I coached at SMU is going to work here with me. And so like also giving other people opportunities just reminded me that it was bigger than me.
Yeah. Are you nervous at all for that transition? Because I feel like as a head coach that comes along with it, that players do see you as that top line that makes those big decisions. So are you nervous for that?
Nervous? No. Like I've already been, like honestly, as an assistant, I dealt with more parents than the head coach did. Like, because we recruit players more closely than the head coach does. So if there's an issue, they're coming to me. Like you told me my kid would do this. You didn't. And so like that part, but it's the relationship piece. Like it's just because I'm in this seat, like I moved over 12 inches and that's further away from the player. Like I used to be right beside the players on the bench, but now I'm standing, maybe 5 feet away. And that distance kind of represents how they feel about me now. Like I'm going to go to an assistant first. And that's the piece that'll be, because now there's a space that someone, I used to be in that space. And so now that space will be something that changes for me, but it's time for someone else to occupy that space. Like I'm older. And so now I can bring someone, former player in here to occupy that space and bridge that gap.
Yeah. Well, you're just if anyone is meant for that transition and to do it so gracefully, like it's going to be you and it's going to be so amazing. Like to your future players too, like there's just so much about you to respect and to be able to learn from you as a coach is just amazing. I remember like when we would go, you would take time out of your busy day and train me before practices for like an hour. And even as a walk-on, like you never saw me as like less than or different than anyone else because I was there to just like work. And I feel like I respected you so much for that, for being able to take your time and like create that connection with me. And that's just going to be so powerful for all your future players as well. So I'm so excited to see what you have to do with that.
Well, thank you.
We'll be following closely, don't worry. But with this transition too, there's been a lot of other changes in your personal life too. You're a mom, like you just shared with us, your baby's 10 months old now. How has it been for you because when we saw you, you didn't, well, I don't think we really knew what was going on with your life personally, but I know it was not today. Yeah. So how has that balance been for you to balance all of those roles? Mom, wife, now head coach. Those are a lot of important roles. How has that been for you?
Cool. Like I was kind of like, so the baby happened last summer. So Kobe came last July and I am a worker. Like I'm in here every day. I'm doing something at all times. And so last summer was the first summer I didn't go recruiting or like watch recruiting. Like COVID made us stay home, but we still were watching events. The baby came July 5th. That was like the day before the first eval period. And when I mean to tell you, I didn't miss it at all. Like I was full like mommy. Like I was like there. It was like hospital, baby, diapers, like burping cloth, like the whole deal. Like it was like I didn't miss it one bit. And then when it was time to go back to work, again, my head coach had a baby 4 months later. And so she was like, I started missing it. And Kobe turned 1 and she turned a month and I would like, she got some vaccinations and then I started like slowly taking her to the office in a little holder during meetings. And at that point, she was really quiet. She doesn't do anything but eat and cry when she's hungry. And so that was like really smooth. And then the season started. And because of where I was, she could travel. She was a great traveler at that time. Again, she was quiet. And so she would come on road trips, stay at the hotels. She would do the whole deal. So I really wasn't without her and we weren't recruiting at that point. So I was like, Now, one of my biggest reservations was how to balance it. And so when I took the job, I reached out to one of my coaching colleagues. Her name's Aqua Franklin. She's at Lamar. And I said, I have a family now, and like they still come first. Like I have a kid, and my kid comes first. And she was like, the good thing is like now you control the schedule. So then I took a step back and I was like,
true.
You know what? You're right. So
So
like, if I
true.
don't go home, like that's on me. Like last night we were here to like 6:30 or 7. And I said, like, I need to go home before my kid goes to sleep. Like I told myself that. And so I have the power to be like, y'all, we're done. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here. And so I do my best to schedule my days around her. I also knew that I wouldn't take a job that wouldn't allow me to get to her within 10 or 15 minutes. But if I want to run home and like have lunch with her, I can. Want to run here and have lunch here, they can. And so for me, like I'm 20 minutes away from home in peak traffic. And now I wake up in the morning, I work out, I get her up, we have breakfast, like we do the whole deal, and then I come to work. And so that's all she knows. But it's been fun. Like just she's loud, man. But having her around has been like, it's been the most amazing thing because she learns so quickly. I was looking at her this morning when I was at home, and I was just thinking, like, at what age or stage in life do we decide that we shouldn't learn every day? Because she's learning every day. Like every day is something. Like last night she was supposed to be asleep. She was just sitting in bed like clapping. I'm like, bro, when did you start like actively clapping? Like when did this come about? Because you didn't yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as adults, like we're not actively learning new skills. Like we know what we know, and we think that that's enough to suffice. Like she's like every day is like, oh, it's a table up there I can climb. Like, and so like she actually challenged me this morning, and so it's different, but it's fun. Like it's just a new adventure.
Yeah.
Were you the parent that would read to the baby in the womb?
Yeah, like we had like one book, and the thing about me is like I like my books to rhyme. Like if the books. Like if her books don't rhyme, I'm not really with it. Like I want llama red pajama. Like it needs to like
JP would start like rapping the children.
so many songs, like just freestyles, just whatever. But then it got to a point where like I would be reading, and I'm like, yeah, you got to read the biography of Malcolm X this morning. That's just like whatever I had around was what I was reading. But she's like now, because she's been read to for so long, like she doesn't even like let you read. Like as soon as you pull the book out, she like takes it and starts like yelling at you.
Yeah, throwing it like this.
Yeah, I'm like, this is even, what are you doing? Yeah, I did. I read to her a lot.
So cute. I love that. Well, it sounds like you have, even in this new chapter, like being head coach, it sounds like you're already starting to implement those boundaries, which from a therapist, boundaries are always so great to have, especially like with that work-life balance. And I love that you mentioned the, you know, being able to like even taking it into consideration, the being able to like get home in 10 minutes. Like that's huge. And I think that's, I don't know, this is kind of random, but I feel like that commute to work type of thing is kind of newer now too, maybe because of COVID, but like both of my parents would drive so far for work, even my stepmom, like, and it was, and in my mind, it was always like, you know, you have to drive far to go to work. But even now when I was looking like for my like jobs last year, I was like, okay, if it's more than 20 minutes, like, no, thanks.
Yeah. Like, actually, like when I was at SMU in Dallas, I wanted to get back to Texas, and SMU is a great spot, right? But I was driving 45 minutes to and from work. And that was like on a good day.
Yeah.
So it was essentially like having to leave in the morning at 6 a.m. so I could beat the traffic and only drive like 30 to 45 minutes, get to that side of town, work out, shower at the office, stay at work, and then work from, 8 to 6. But then there's 6 o'clock traffic. So try to let that traffic die. And now I'm still sitting in 45 minutes. And I'm driving home. It's 8 o'clock and I've been gone since 6 a.m. And I was like, this isn't life. Like this can't be what I'm doing. And so that's literally like the biggest reason why I left SMU is because I wasn't able to spend, this was before I had a baby. I wasn't able to spend time with my family. And so I was like, this doesn't serve me right now or my family. So I had to part ways with it.
Yeah, makes sense. I love to see that you're taking care of yourself because you truly like, you can't, being a coach, you're in charge of so many people's like emotional states basically. And if you're not feeling your best self, then you're not going to be able to show up for the young athletes that you. Elite athletes know performance isn't just about what you do in the game. It's about how you prepare and how you recover. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Defend USA. If you want to stay in peak shape, you can't afford to ignore the power of recovery. That's where Defend USA comes in. Trusted by the NBA, WNBA, MLB, NCAA, and beyond, Defend USA's compression gear is designed to help you train harder, recover faster, and perform at your best. Their military-grade compression technology boosts circulation, reduces muscle fatigue, and helps prevent injury, so you can push limits without breaking down. That's why the best athletes don't just train hard, they recover smarter. Level up your recovery, level up your game. Check out Defend USA at dfndusa.com and at dfndusa on Instagram, and get the gear trusted by the pros. Because true champions don't just train hard, they recover harder. Coach. Speaking of Texas, only are you such an amazing coach, but you were also an amazing player. And you played for one of the greats, Coach Kim Mulkey at Baylor.
What was one mental lesson or like mind shift you took away from your time at Baylor, especially being coached by one of the greats, Coach Mulkey?
I probably learned that there is, like, for me, I get clarity with consistency and with no guesswork, which is a good or a bad thing, because then sometimes I struggle when like one thing is off, but like we knew where she would be when she would be there and what we were doing at all times. And so that structure was really helpful in my life. It wasn't great for everyone. Like some players needed something new every day. I wasn't that one. That structure was perfect for me. But the other thing I learned about her when I was working with her, and I'm not good at it, but she would show us rawness. Like when life was lifing with her, we knew it and she didn't hide from it. Like I was at Baylor when she was going through a divorce, and like she didn't make us feel it every day, but it was like she came in and was like, this is what's happening. And as young women, this is what you should not put up with. And I was willing to do this for this man and he didn't deserve it. Like, and I was like a freshman in college and I was like, this is heavy. But like looking back, like I just read a book with my players last week, and it talked a little bit about, you know, sometimes it was Who Moved My Cheese, and it talked about molded cheese. And sometimes you have to let go of molded cheese, like relationships that no longer serve you. And then I lectured them about it, like in life, like this doesn't have to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend, friendships, like whatever it is, if it no longer serves you. But I remember how I learned that lesson from Coach Mulkey, and it was just pure raw emotion. Like, so what y'all see on TV, her like slamming books and being emotional, that's who she is. It's also human. Like, it's just, I watched her go through a divorce. I watched her kids have to go through that as well. And so it was just like, okay, like she's superwoman to us, or to you, maybe on the outside, because it's like national championship, coach of the year, whatever. But like to us, it's just like a woman going through a divorce, man. Like she's like, it's just the human side. And so she did show me like, yes, showing up every day as like a super person is a thing, but like, I'm going to also let you know that like I too go through things.
Yeah. I love that, because I feel like a lot of athletes see head coaches as being such like this high level, like idolizing type of person, but they are human and they're very normal. So that's amazing to hear.
From all of that you
like, think back to like when you were like 6, right? You were like in elementary and you had a teacher, and you thought the teacher was so old and you thought she was like the president. Like now that you're the teacher's age, she was like 23. We were at the bar last night, but
Exactly.
people on a pedestal, and it's like, she walked this more like, I don't know. We all do it. Like, but we started doing it really young because our teachers were so young, but we thought they were like so old and had it together. And like my siblings
like 27.
Yeah. But it was the same with coaches. Like you just think that, I don't know, they're above it. Like, oh, we're in it too. Like it's every day. Like I get chewed out for like not shutting the garage, or like it's just normal human stuff, right?
And I tell my little brother that's going through, like he's going to be a junior next year, so he's in the midst of like going to viewing periods and stuff like that, and he gets so nervous. I told him, I gave him an example. I said, when I graduated CBU, I could have been an assistant coach sitting on that sideline, and you talk to me every day.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like coaches just got hired last year and they're learning too.
That's like a great example. Like when I was in college, I remember I don't even know why. It was because Carolyn Peck was at Purdue, and Yukari Figs and Sharika Wright, she's the head coach at UTA. They had just won a national championship. I'm from Bay City, Texas. I told myself I'm going to college at Purdue because I watched them win a national championship. And I remember that summer, I didn't care about recruiting. And I went to a tournament, we played a game, and Purdue was there. And I played like the worst game of my life. And I don't even play like that. But like to your point, like now I'm cool with Sharika. And I'm like, you're watching. Like I'm acting like I'm performing for Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah, seriously, that's how it feels.
It is. You're right, though. It's just like we're normal just hoop. Because even where you're bad, like your skill set still shows. Like
Still
you're missing
shows.
shots, but you shoot a good ball. It's
Right.
like
Exactly.
we're humans just hoop. That's a great point.
From everything that you experienced with Coach Mulkey, what are some things, if any, that you like really appreciated as a player that you kind of want to bring into your program and your culture that you learned from her?
You know what? Even just being here, there is an arrogance that you walk with when you feel like your leader is competent. Like when your leader has some swagger, like if we're going to battle and the person leading me in the battle, like it's somebody I want to get behind, I'm like, bro, I'm about to go out here swinging.
Yeah.
Let's fight. Like that's what she taught us. Like she was going to fight for us. And so I was willing to fight for her. And that's what like I want these players to know. And not just like during a basketball game, calling a horns flare set, right? I mean, like here on campus, like how can I advocate for you? On the road, in hotels, how can I advocate for you? Like just showing you examples of not settling. That would be the biggest thing, is because like I had someone, I remember when I graduated college, I went overseas and I played pro, and I was getting fouled. I mean, it's Europe, like anything goes. And I was looking at my coach like, bro, why are you not out here fighting for me? Like tell them this about. And I was like I had the Mulkey treatment, right? Like I had what she's doing on TV for Flage, like she was doing that for me for 4 years. And so now like I'm struggling because I don't have anyone advocating for me. So the biggest thing is like, I want to be an advocate for them. Like if you want to study this, let's figure it out. If you want more meal swipes, like let's see if we can get it figured out. Like whatever it is you want, I don't want you to have to settle to play here with me. So I just want to be an advocate for them.
That's beautiful. And it shows them too that like it shows them their worth, and that to learn that if someone's fighting for them, I can only imagine how that can translate like into the real world too after basketball. It's like, okay, I know I'm worth fighting for, so that they'll be able to stand up for themselves and fight for themselves in job positions, in work, in their family life, whatever it might be. So that's really inspiring. I love that that's what you're gonna share with these athletes. You were mentioning, you guys both were kind of talking about recruiting and those nerves that athletes feel playing in front of college coaches. And at the end of the day, right, like college coaches are just humans, just like athletes are just humans. But JP, I think something that we always really looked up to you for and like had a lot of respect for when it came to your coaching game was the level of recruiting that you did and how much you really studied the game. And even when we would watch film and like how much you really broke it down. So you can coach, you can play, and you can recruit. I think you just have so many superpowers. And because you're such a great recruiter, we kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about like what it is that you look for when you are watching high school athletes, because us creating this podcast, you know, obviously we want to raise awareness around mental health in sport, mental training, but also we want to be able to have these conversations for younger athletes that we feel like we missed out on, because there is so much more. And like you just mentioned, like, okay, yes, a player can say like, oh, I missed the shot in, you know, all these coaches were watching, but like you just said, it could have been a really good shot and like the coaches still see that. So with all that being said, what would you say like are your top 3 things that you look for in high school athletes when you're recruiting them, and not just necessarily talent or like things that they're doing on the court?
I would say the first thing is motor. Like you play hard all the time. Like I need a player that has a motor. Like, can you get up and down, like offensively and defensively? How quickly do you transition? Like if you just made a shot, how quickly are you getting back on D? We just got to stop. How quickly are you transitioning to offense? And so you don't even have to touch a ball, right? Like, but how quickly are you transitioning is really important to me. I think the game today has gone to people who can shoot it. But I just mean like not people who can, like, because I think good shooters will make shots. Steph can be 2 for 18 and everyone in the whole gym thinks he's going to make the next shot. Because structurally, he shoots a good ball. Like, can you shoot a good ball? And I find that like most kids who have, and we say we hate skills trainers. We hate skills trainers who just do ball handling stuff. The skills trainers who are fixing the structure of a player's shot they are so valuable, because if you think about the best players who ever played the game, they could all shoot it. They could. LeBron had to learn how to shoot it better because at first he was just an athlete. Kobe had to learn how to shoot it better. In fact, Jordan had to learn how, like, those guys could shoot the ball. Like if you think Dirk, Luka, those guys, Steph, those guys could shoot the ball. Athleticism isn't going to do it anymore. And then like, I think it's, you know, do you have structural foundations to being able to make shots? Do you have motor? Because motor makes up for a lot. Motor can get you a layup. And just kind of how do you take coaching? Basketball is an emotional game. It's a game of failure, really. Like nobody's shooting 85%. Everybody's shooting about 30 to 40%. So you're going to fail 60% of the time. How do you handle failure? How quickly can you fail and move on? Because it's so similar to life. Like you gotta fail forward, fail and move on. Like we just can't dwell on that because then it affects the steps moving forward. So just how do they accept coaching? And it's really like, how do you accept failure? How do you accept feedback? Those things are really important because we can't change anything if you can't accept feedback because you're kind of like blinded to like the facts. And basketball is so emotional that you will get tied up in the emotion of things when like you didn't miss that shot because you sucked. You missed that shot because your elbow was out. Like, let's just get back to facts and then we can move forward. So those would be the biggest things.
For that perspective, your second point, do you feel like parents play a big part, coaches play a big part? How do you feel like these athletes can better that perspective?
I'll be honest, and this could be hard to say, like, I think if parents can find and afford good trainers, it matters. And honestly, a lot of players Sarah Strong's mom hooped. Like Juju had the best trainers ever growing up. It's the same with players. Like when you see these skilled athletes at high levels, there is a trainer somewhere behind them or a parent who played, who molded their game coming up. Like I can typically tell if a kid had a trainer or a parent who hooped by the way they shoot the ball, period. Because like parents obsess over that. Like get your elbow when Kobe, bless her heart, she don't have a basketball goal, but what she does, like, we're not going to start dribbling. It's shoot it. Put it up there with two hands. And like, that's how you know whether or not, because if you walk outside right now with your brother and he shoots it and you're like, bro, take your other hand off the ball. Like, what are you, right? Like that, because you're a player. Yeah. And so like structurally, people who know the game, we only know to start that way. Because kids, when you give a kid a ball, they're just going to start trying to throw the ball between their legs.
Yeah.
But when we take it from them, the first thing we're going to do is shoot it. Like, because that's how the game that wins ball games, right? Like points win ball games. And so I think parents matter because everyone can't afford to pay for a trainer. But if you can, I would advise one that starts with shooting. Like you can learn how to dribble with some cones. You need a rebounder to learn how to shoot it. You need actual structure for that. And so that's why parents matter, just picking a good trainer. And then, the parents that were ball players. That's why you see so many, ball players. The Boozer boys are some of the best arenas kid, like those kids, the guy from the podcast, Matt Barnes's kids, like these, because they were trained that way. Like Kobe's kids, like it's the same because of how their game was built, and those people's parents were pros.
Well, I'm scared for Cole, my little brother, because we
scared for Kobe.
Literally. Well, my dad obviously he played pro, he played college, and he molded my shot, and now Cole has me and my dad. He will literally throw up some like crazy shot like in the driveway, and we're both like, put your elbow and then we both have to look at each other and just be like, okay, wait, we're just having fun.
Like every team has in Swaggy P has called him a corner guy. Every team has a corner guy who is going to run to the corner and stretch the floor so these athletes can get a paint touch. And those are just people who can shoot it. Like that's literally it. If you have the ability to shoot the ball, you have a chance to play, period. Like everybody, one from every team because that's their role. I mean, you have a couple guys, you got the Pat Beverleys who are out there to lock down and defend, but you can't name me 5 more of them. I can name you 5 shooters just off the top of my head, right? Because like they're there to create space. And so I think that's where the game should start.
With what you're saying, like specific to college, I think I learned this the hard way, is that understanding your role in college. And so as a head coach now, how do you feel like, or what do you feel like is the difference between being recruited for a role and being prepared to play your role at the college level?
That's like, we just talked about corner guys, and corner guys are millionaires. Players hate being corner guys. Like, if I had a conversation with every player in the portal, they would just be like, she just told me to run to the corner. And I'm like, did you go? Like, did you run over there? Like, what happened when you got
a good attitude?
No one wants to do it, but they don't understand. You can't tell a player like, oh, I'm going to bring you down here and your job is to just lock down and defend. Like, they don't want to hear that. But there's a delicate balance because like there can be a player who is exceptionally skilled in shooting the ball. And that player is like, well, I want to be more of a corner guy. And I have to respect that because I don't want you to fall short, right? So like, let's work on you finishing in the mid-range, right? But essentially, your best attribute. You don't want to give away your best attribute to do something just out of pride or ego. And you see it a lot with like positions. Like, yes, you could come off a ball screen or you could play the 3, but like when you play a 3, you have to guard a 3 and you can't guard a 3. So you should probably be a 5. And it's hard for them to embrace that. And I think some of it is ego. And so then it points back to like, you know, that coach won't let me rock. And it's like,
Yeah.
I have a kid, like I want to win. And I feel like you could best help us win from here. Like, right. And if I felt like you could best help us win from here, trust me, I would put you.
I put you there. Right.
So it's for them, it's just like they're ambitious and they should be. And I think their parents are really ambitious and it's all coming from a good place. But I think people who love you a lot can give you poor advice. And that's okay. Like, because they just don't know. But you just have to understand, like, I'm putting you in the place to be most successful. When I recruit you, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to develop you to the best of my ability. But like, if you leave here and you're still at best a corner guy, then that's okay because that role is, if I don't have anyone who decides to stay in the corner, when my point guard decides to dribble penetrate, where is she passing it to? Right? Like there is no one. I don't care what you do when you catch it, but like you have to find those spots. And so it happens all over the floor. Like your point guard all of a sudden doesn't want to pass it and run to the corner. Your post player wants to come off a ball screen. Your shooter wants to dribble penetrate. Now, like it's all over the place, but you just have to be able to identify your gifts and be okay with it.
Yeah. I will say I definitely loved the corner.
You gotta embrace it. You don't have to do it.
A bit too much, like I didn't want to get out of it, but
a lot of action happens in those corners. Like nothing
I
happens.
love me a corner so much.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by PhysioWorks Physical Therapy. Sports aren't just about skill, it's about strength. And I'm not just talking about physical strength. Athletes train their bodies, push their limits, and build muscle to perform at their best. But what happens when injury strikes, or when movement just doesn't feel right? That's where PhysioWorks Physical Therapy comes in. PhysioWorks isn't just about recovery, it's about unlocking your full potential. Their expert team helps you rebuild strength, improve mobility, and prevent future injuries, so you can get back to doing what you love. Because strong muscles create strong athletes. At PhysioWorks Physical Therapy in Redondo Beach, California, they understand that true performance is both physical and mental. So whether you're rehabbing an injury or leveling up your game, don't just push through the pain. Work with the best. Because a strong body fuels a strong mind. And when both are in sync, that's when you truly win. What do you feel like, going back to the rules, like what do you feel are, especially, you know, me being someone who didn't have much role on the court during a game time, what would you say are some of like the key assets that those players, like maybe their role was like a bench player, or it was to be like the best on the scouting team? Like what are some more like intangible things that people don't really see that also are just as important as, like, you know, making your shots in the corner or being able to penetrate and kick out?
I think first, let's start with scout team. I think the best players in the country have the best players probably 8 through 15. Period. Because personally, I'm a girl's girl. I don't love scout teams because when you give 5 guys those reps, that takes away from the reps that your 8 through 15 should be having. So when I promise you player development, but you're watching the scout team play against the starting 5, you're not really developing, because now, like, you didn't hoop all week outside of the warm up that we did together as a team. And now it's Wednesday and you're not playing tonight. And tomorrow's Thursday and you didn't play yesterday. And so then there are never any reps. So there is no development if you keep on stifling development with the scout team. And I love but let your players hoop, because outside of that, there's nowhere else for them to hoop. And so idle minds, then they get distracted and then they're talking and then it gets negative really quickly because they're idle. And so I talked to the team about it the other day, and it just came to me when we were reading the book, and we were talking about, like, growing up, we hear about peer pressure. And we hear about peer pressure when it's like, don't do drugs and don't go drink and drive. And I'm like, no, our locker room needs positive peer pressure. Sure, people into positivity. If someone's complaining, curve it with positivity. And I'll never forget, like, you two are good for each other because, like, Haley, you embraced Naomi. Like, that's what it was. Like, she wasn't happy with her role her first year because it could have been bigger if she were healthy. But, like, I remember going to your parents' house. That's so important. Like, whose house are we going to? It's a holiday. Where are we going? Who's taking these international kids who are from the other? Like, those things are probably more important than anything, because, like, that's the heartbeat of a locker room. I was talking to our staff the other day. I'm with our players 3 hours a day, 3 at max. They spend more time together at home, together meeting, together in the locker room than they spend with me. What are they saying to each other? And if there's not someone in that circle with some positive peer pressure, come on, y'all, we got it. She ain't that bad. If she does just want to win, or like if you were in the corner, we could have got a basket. Like those people are so important to the culture. That's why NBA and WNBA, that's why they keep vets on teams, because they understand what happens in a locker room. And so there are players here that thought about going into the portal that probably, could have gone into the portal. I'm like, hey, I need you to win our locker room. Like, period. Like you can come in here and meet with me all the time, get to know me. I'll get to know you so that you can win our locker room. You can help me win the locker room, because those people, like, who's going to keep our best guy in check? Who's the voice for her? And those people matter. Like I had a conversation with our head coach last year. It was a hard conversation. She had it with the whole staff. And she said, which player is not entering the transfer portal because you are here? And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, not only do we have to recruit new kids, we need to be connected with these kids. So they're not like, they need someone here that they'll say, like, I'm not going to go in because Coach Jazz is here. Like, I'm not, like, I know I won't find another her. Like, for players in the locker room, who are you close to? So when they're considering entering the portal, they're like, no, I can't leave my homegirl. Like, we about to sit here and win together. Like, that's the kind of pressure a locker room needs, is like, we have a plan to win here together. And if you can't get along with that culture, then you should leave, because the pressure is pushing you out.
Right.
But those are the type of people, like, that role is more important. Someone has to be the glue in the locker room more than anything.
I feel like I realize that. I know you guys used to always push that onto us, especially you, like the positivity side and like negative talk and everything. But I didn't realize that until I went to CBU, and that was a winning culture. The locker room was different. The talk on the court was different. When I was the best on the scout team, when I started to negatively talk or just come into practice like, when is this going to be over? I had an assistant coach check me and let me rant about all this playing time, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, are you done? And I said, yeah. And he was like, all that was excuses. Like, everything you can control, you're starting to go downhill. I don't see you in the gym earlier. I don't see you shooting after with your teammates. Like, just because you're on the scout team, like, if you come in for a week with positive attitude, knowing your role on the scout team, like, just see what happens. And it completely changed. Like, the mood of the practices changed because I was having fun, like, scoring. I didn't care. Like, that was my main goal with the scout team. For them, like, that's what they were telling me to do, and I embraced it, and I enjoyed my rest of the time there. So
it's positive peer pressure. He pressured you into finding a positive, and that, like, that kind of culture, that's a winning culture. And see, they've been winning forever. I mean, they're kind of down right now, but like culturally, we talk about at Baylor, like, you walked into that culture and you knew it was different. When I got to college, I knew what type of time they were on when I got there. I was like, oh, shoot, so we show up this early every time, and we're supposed to be here. We don't say that. Like, it was all by example. Like, people didn't have to tell. If I was in practice and I wasn't talking, they were looking at me like,
like, what are you doing?
You with us or not? And so I had to get on because they pushed me on. And so by the time I was a senior, that was the expectation. Mulkey never told me those things.
Yeah.
They just, when I got there, I was like, oh, I better do this if I like, this is what's normal for us. And so that's what you guys had to see.
I would encourage a lot of athletes, when you do go on these visits, this is something I didn't know, is to pay attention to those things and understand what is happening in practices, because that is a big teller. When I went to LMU, it was the opposite.
And I think it's so important too to be able to have the coaches that recognize those intangible things, especially like just using mine and JP's relationship, for example, of like I felt like you always saw me like trying to be positive or trying to like do those intangible things. And you would tell me like, those are good. Like, you're doing good with it. Like, that's great to see. And I feel like when it got really hard for me was when I was continuing to do those things and it wasn't being seen. And I was like almost seen as like just this like literally like pocket full of sunshine that has no hardship or anything like that. And that obviously I was after JP left, but it was not like I wasn't being seen as like a full person. just of those like being there for the glimmer. But I even remember like being able to talk to you, JP, about like any hardships or anything I was stressed about, but then like having like just like you said, Nay, like you have that moment to kind of rant about it and you have that safe space to get it out. And then it's like, okay, I know I can kind of like dump my baggage there, but then I'm gonna go perform my role on the court or in practice or in team bondings, like whatever it is. So it's important for athletes who maybe it is their role to do like the more like intangible things, to have their space to feel like they can kind of just break down and not feel like they have it like all together all the time.
So looking back, what advice would you give your younger self as an assistant coach preparing for this moment?
Advice: follow your instincts and like love your people. It's like going into a basketball game. Like when the ball is tipped, are you the person who is like shot faking and jabbing to see how they're playing, or are you attacking? Attack. Like life is short, life is unpredictable. Love people as hard as you can, embrace every moment and move forward. When I was at Maine, I was a Mainer. I was a young Black girl from the hood in Texas living in Maine, and I embraced it. I was rappelling and mountain climbing and doing all kind of Maine stuff, right? Eating lobster rolls, right? But I embraced it. I was in LA when Nipsey got killed, I think. I'm a Nipsey fan to this day. Like I embraced the culture. I loved the people. Like still, like as soon as y'all reached out, it's like, what? This is a no-brainer for me. Like love the people. When I was at KU, I'm still affiliated with those kids today. I loved my time there. When I was like, love the people where you are, because you don't want, people say it all the time, like you don't want to die rich, right? Like you want to, because what's the point? It ain't like you can take it with you. It's the same love and energy. Give it, right? Because what's the point of dying with it, right? Like just spread it, give it. I feel like when we are young, people tell us positive things. Like when we were young ball players, it was like, oh, you're so good. Like you're better than everybody. Like, but today, like, when's the last time someone complimented you? Right? Like, when's the last time you complimented yourself? Like, dang, I really just killed that interview today. Like, we don't do it anymore. Like, we start like doing the affirmations in the mirror thing, but like, when's the last time you complimented someone or someone gave you a compliment, and why? Right? Like, literally, why? Because we can't take them with us. Like, I just left the compliance meeting. Hey, y'all, I ain't feel like being here, but y'all did a real good job. I appreciate this. Like, y'all had slides. Like, it was like, y'all got us out here 30 minutes early. Like, it was cool. Like, thank y'all. Because that literally may be the only compliment that person here today. And if you think about it, just thinking about when the last time you heard one. It doesn't happen. Like just being on here with y'all, like we complimented each other because like we missed each other, right? But like outside of this conversation, right? And so just give love and like leave a mark everywhere you are. Like leave vibes. And everyone won't love you, right? Like they won't, but a lot of people will if you make an intentional effort to like leave positivity behind. And that's what I would tell my younger self. Like, be as positive as you can. Don't save any compliments. Don't save the love. Don't hoard the love. Don't hoard the lessons. Share, because there's one day you can't. And hopefully you've touched a life.
Well, you definitely left a positive impact on our life. So thank you for all of that. And thank you for your time today in the mental training room.
Thanks for having me, guys. I miss y'all. Really appreciate it.
And that's a wrap for today's session in the mental training room. If you found value in this episode, make sure to subscribe to our show, share it with a teammate, friend, parent, or anyone you think would benefit from listening, and follow us on the Instagram at mtr.pod.
We'll catch you next time inside the mental training room. If you are currently experiencing a mental health crisis, please dial 988 for emergency support.